ahead, Nidhal. We can speak and hear you clearly.
Okay, so you know my name now, and I came from Iraq. We migrated 24 years ago. And the reason why we migrated here, or maybe I should say, I should tell you, I think maybe most of you, they know what Iraq means. Iraq means, the name of Iraq means it's something very noble, very, very old. It has a deep, deep root. Iraq was the, and it means the Mesopotamia, the land of early civilization, was in Iraq. It was more than 12,000 before BC. And they invented the writing, the sail, the wheels. They put a code of law. There was doctors, there was literature.
Thank you.
So I think, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So since the Mongol time, the Mongol invaded Baghdad and they burnt the library. There was a rich library book in there. They burnt it all. So I'm not very sure why Iraq is targeted. That will take me why we migrated. So we start thinking of migration when we start hearing Iraq will be divided into 3 regions or countries. One for Kurd, one for Shia, one for Sunni people. And that time I told my husband, we should start thinking of leaving Iraq. So the process, we started the process of thinking where to go. We didn't choose to go to Denmark or Sweden on refugee category because of their language was very difficult. We study in Iraq, we study English from year 5 of primary school. English is a compulsory text in Iraq. So we know English, all the TV, most of the not the program, the movie, the series is all, the episode is in English with Arabic translation. So we are exposed to the English language. We can speak it, maybe in a thick way, but we can understand it. So we didn't apply to Canada. The application was a bit costly. And we were afraid we will be placed in the French side. So we have to learn the French language. So we decided to we applied to New Zealand and we were lucky. So the process started. We decided to stay in Iraq. Most of the people who apply for immigration, they travel to the next country, which is Jordan, and stay there. But the cost of traveling was really expensive because the Iraqi dinar was very, very strong. 1 Iraqi dinar equal to 3.2 American dollar. That was before the 80s or till the 1980. Or 1979. 1982, the 1 Iraqi dinar equal to 1 American dollar. And if the currency the Iraqi currency start becoming less and less. We started a war with Iran in 1980. It lasted 8 years. At that time, there was, you know, with the war, there's lots of things happen in the country, burglaries, we lose lots of things, economy became not good. And then 1988, the war finished. after 8 years. And then 1990, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, and we got the sanction on the Iraqi people. With the sanction, life has become really hard. So we start hearing, okay, they will divide Iraq to 3 countries. We start applying to New Zealand. We stayed in Iraq. We decided to stay in Iraq until our application approved. So what we used to do, we sent the application. My neighbor was driver in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So whatever we need, when he go to Jordan, we send the form with him or the document, or whosoever going to Jordan. And my brother-in-law was in Jordan. He will pass it on to the immigration or to the solicitor. I was pregnant at that time, and in my last child. So we said, no, we will stay in Iraq. We get the approval. We don't want to lose money. And the approval came 1996. And I delivered my baby. She was 1 month old exactly when I left Iraq. But at that time, we didn't have any hardship. We had 2 cars, we have a small house, we have a business, we have the support of both families from my side and my husband's side. At that time, to pay for the Iraqi passport and get the visa just to go out, we sold 1 car. 1 car, the money of 1 car was just to pay for the passport. Imagine how much the currency was, you know, I mean, how much it is difficult. And at that time, believe me, like we transferred 3,000 Iraqi dinar to get 1 American dollar. Imagine how is the Iraqi currency has become in the minus. Can you go to my point? Like, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
So from 1 dinar equal to 3.2 American dollar, we paid 3,000 dinar to get 1 American dollar. That's how it has become hard for Iraqi people to maintain their daily living with the sanction. So I am a civil engineer. We applied as on the skill category. So I am a civil engineer. I have a degree in civil engineering. I worked 8 years as a resident engineer in implementing water supply scheme, not in Baghdad, in another district. I even worked to implement compact water unit on the border of Iraq, Iran. So after 8 years, education was free in Iraq, from primary school till you finish university. You don't need to pay anything. From primary school, secondary school, intermediate school, we get the stationery, but not for the whole year, but we get the textbook. In university, we don't need to pay the fees for the study. We don't have loan for the study. We get the uniform, 1 set of uniform, and but we have to buy the textbook. But they give us handout and some copied files. All the study was in English, not in Arabic. But in the last year of my study, Saddam Hussein decided that even the books, the handouts, everything should be in Arabic. So that was a bit, you know, but we continued. And when I finished my university, it was all in English. When we finished university, the government allocate a job for us. If we want to, according to our specialty, like the doctor, they become what you call it, a house officer here, and then they go to the villages to do 2 years, and then they can come back to Baghdad or to their city. If any university graduate want to leave, to decline the government job or to leave the government job, we have to pay double the amount the government spend on our education from a primary school till the end of university. So it was difficult. I'm not very sure how much it was. I didn't calculate it at that time because I was happy. I worked for 8 years till I resigned. But during my pregnancy, and the last, when I finished, I think it was the end of 6 months in my pregnancy, the government excused us from paying the penalty. So I took that chance immediately and resigned. But in Iraq, if you want to leave secondary school, high school, primary school, you don't need to pay anything. But if you want to leave, even university, if you want to leave it, you don't need to pay. But if you in university, I'm not very sure, to be honest. And if like when I had my children, education was compulsory also. When a child become near 5 years old, we go and enroll him in the school zone. We have a school zone. If he didn't or she didn't start the school, the police will come and tell you, oh no, your child has become 5 years old, he should start to school. So education was compulsory also. And in Iraq, Saddam Hussein, the one good thing Saddam Hussein did in the 80s, he asked all the people who are not educated, who doesn't know writing and reading, to go to afternoon schools to learn to read and write at least. So they know when they go to the shop, or, you know, they know how to deal with money, and they become independent. And it really was very successful at that time. That's one thing the Saddam Hussein, I believe he did something very good. So I resigned in 1988, and my husband, he was a vet, but the veterinary was in the bottom law of education in Iraq, because we don't keep pets at home. And if the people have cattle or sheep, they know how to deal with it, or there was a veterinary hospital in every city, so they can go to that hospital. So, well, it wasn't, to be a vet, it wasn't a good job. So we applied on the skills category, and the approval came, and we left Iraq, and we stayed in Jordan for 1.5 months till my daughter, my youngest baby, she was 1.5 months, till she was added on our PR visa. We left Jordan. We arrived here on the 27th of December, 1996. Life wasn't easy here. Culturally, some people, they have misconception, and they ask me, oh, was it very difficult? I said, no, it wasn't difficult for us, because life is very, like, Iraq have a variety of cultures. There are people are very educated since the 40s, the 50s. People, they travel in the 50s to have further education. They go to England, they go to America, they go to France, some people. to get further education like PhD or master or whatever. And we have the best of everything, to be honest, in Iraq. So wasn't, for me personally, it wasn't very difficult to adapt here. And because of the multiculturalism here, I didn't feel I'm a very stranger here, you know. I got help from everybody. I got help from my neighbor, from my landlord. Iraqi community is big here. It was the fourth biggest migrant community according to New Zealand statistic in 1997. And most of them, they came on skill category. And Iraqis are very hard worker because we don't have like, in Iraq, we don't have income support. We have to work hard for our income. And we are used to it. So life wasn't, and because of the war and the sanction on Iraq, we became very adapted to a new situation. We managed stress, to be honest. So it wasn't very hard for us. Sometime one Kiwi friend asked me, Nidhal, do you think Kiwi are, I'm sorry to say that, do you think Kiwi are a bit fussy? Because one lady said, oh, I'm stressed, I'm moving house. The other lady, she said, I'm stressed, I have a study. And I said, look, every person has their own situation. Like in Iraq, life is hard. We have war, bombarding, sanction. So we are adapted to stressful situation. But while here, people, they have income. If you don't have work, you have income. So it's different, you know. My husband, when we arrived, he couldn't find a job because he has to do the registration for to be a vet. And at that time, the council didn't accept the Iraqi to set the registration exam until we asked the parliament. They went, my husband and his friend, they went to parliament to claim, and they told the parliament, okay, we Iraqi individuals, we cannot ask the Iraqi government to give us the syllabus, whatever you need document. But you as a council and the New Zealand government, maybe you can do that. We cannot deal with Saddam Hussein and his insurrection. So they did actually. And they got whatever paper the council, the veterinary council wanted. And then he set the exam. It lasted 5 years for him because he passed the theoretical exam, but the clinical exam, it was once a year in Palmerston North. If he wants to sit the exam again, he has to pay extra money. And he did. And he passed the exam. And he got registered. And he worked in a very busy clinic for companion animals in Papa Tawi Tawi. But the workload was very, very, very hard on him. He couldn't deal with it. He resigned after 3 years. And I couldn't change his mind. Nobody could change his mind anyway. He's working now. I couldn't work because I had young babies. One was 2, one was 2.5 months when we arrived. And Mohammed was 7 and Mariam was 5 years old. But when my youngest finished kindergarten, I started working as a reliever in the public kindergarten. And that's how I became, I like to study early childhood. When she went to primary school, in her second year, I start working. I find a job in an early childhood center as a cook. After I finish at 2:30, sometimes I go as a reliever for after school care, just to make ends meet. And one day in a week, I do adult community education. I used to teach Mediterranean cooking. I enjoy it very much. And yeah. And in 2004, in July, I started studying toward my diploma early childhood. I finished in 2007. I started working in early childhood in 2005. And then I worked till 2015. And my health started deteriorating because I got a heart attack in my second year, in the end of my second year study. But I'm fine now. But health-wise, start deteriorating gradually. I couldn't do full-time job. I started doing part-time job, then 3 days a week, then 2 days a week. I can't work anymore, so I resigned, and I do lots of charity work, and that's how I came across the virtual village, and I'm here now with you, joining you. Yeah, so that's my journey in here. Yeah, we are lucky to be here, to be honest. My children are all working now. 2 of them are married. The youngest one is engaged, and they are all working, happy working in here. They adapted, of course, because they were very young when we came. So they adapted to the life here, and they enjoy. I think after 1 or 2 years, the first year when we came, my son, he started playing cricket and rugby, and he bought a cricket bat, what you call it? And we start knocking it. He start knocking it to make it very strong, and he go to watch with his Iraqi friend. He goes to cricket games. My girls, they go to netball, and they play netball, they play tennis. Yeah, so they are Iraqi Kiwis actually now. Yeah. Do you have any question for me?
Thank you, Nidhal. I found that really fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing. And it just, it highlights for me your resilience, going from just your ability to just carry on and adapt. And I think that's amazing. I think we can all learn from that. If anybody has questions, just unmute yourself and go for it.
Yeah. Anybody has any question for me?
Nidhal, it's Deb here. I'm the one that's the still life on the screen.
Hello.
I've really enjoyed listening to you. You're wonderful.
Thank you.
Can you tell me, please, why you chose not to return to civil engineering as your profession in New Zealand?
Oh, because I left engineering in 1988. Yeah. And to work as a civil engineer here, my specialty is water resources. Yep. I study water resources. So to work I have to find, I have to do the registration also. With my children, we're very young. I choose to take care of my children, and my husband will take care of his registration. And I have to study earthquake, and I have to take extra courses to meet the New Zealand registration. What you call it? The New Zealand registration qualification. It
Yes.
wasn't easy for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I understand. And
Yeah.
it took a long time for your husband to be able to enter the veterinary
Yes.
profession here,
Yes.
despite receiving the advice of his qualification coming from Iraq.
Yeah.
How difficult did he find it to change over to, like, how much different were we actually from back in Iraq, you know,
You
for
know,
the profession?
yeah, you know, very much different, to be honest. I told you the veterinary college in Iraq, it was in the bottom rank of the education in Iraq.
Okay.
This is first, and he graduated in 1979.
Yep.
We arrived in 1997, 20 years later.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, with this change, with this years, all those years, it's really difficult. But he, when he started for his New Zealand registration, he passed the theoretical exam from the first trial, and he
Yep.
got very good marks.
Yeah.
But the clinical one, he passed it except for companion animals and another two. And then he said the exam. It wasn't easy, to be honest. You know, your memory or practical, you know, he never did operation on animals in Iraq.
Yep.
So it
Okay.
wasn't easy. The workload was, the clinic he worked in was a very, very busy clinic. He couldn't handle the workload, to be honest.
Right.
The pressure of the workload.
Yeah, because I assume that the clinic that he was working in was more domestic animals.
Yes, it was companion animal. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
so
that,
it was very difficult for him. He couldn't cope. Some veterinary here, Iraqi vets, they coped. They are working either, but in another fields, you know.
yeah.
They passed the exam. I know somebody who has a PhD, and he worked as he did the exam, he got the registration, and he's working till now in math.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
You're so
Sorry.
incredibly bright all of the time, actually, and positive about this. And I am just in awe of your resilience and took on board what you said about, you know, you were used to having to adapt. And that was a hell of a good lesson for us all, actually, something I hadn't really realized. So it's fabulous.
Yeah. I think because of the war, the situation in Iraq, the sanction, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. So that's why we have families in there. We have the support of neighbors. The community is very strong there.
Yes.
You know?
So did you receive good support here when you arrived?
Very, to be honest.
Yeah.
Very, very good support. I moved to Bucklands Beach. I moved from Takanini when we arrived. I lived in Takanini for 9 months, and then I moved to Bucklands Beach. We thought it's better schooling in there.
Yeah.
And where I lived, to be honest, I got the support from all neighbors, because there was about 4 or 5 children on my road. In my neighborhood with my daughter.
Yep.
You know, and one day one of the mothers came. She said, Nidhal, we have to go tomorrow to the doctor. My husband needs to go to the doctor. Please, could you keep my children? Could you look after my children while we got her? Yes, of course, you know. The Justice of Peace was on my road. I got his support always. Whatever I need, whatever problem I need, I will go to them. Kindergarten teachers, they gave me support. They saw I am interested in early childhood, and I do mother help always. They said, you can come and work as a reliever for us. So I got really lots of support. Yeah, not only me, to be honest. No, most Iraqi, they got very good support here.
That's great. Absolutely great. Sorry, I've monopolized you. Others will have questions.
Yeah.
No?
Hello, I haven't got a question, but just something else that you said that rang bells with me. In Wellington years ago, I used to work with people who came from other countries and had to learn to settle into New Zealand. I used to work with people who were much more educated than I was, but they couldn't get jobs. But it was always, we found the women who were more adaptable. I had for instance, a Russian lady who was a doctor of the environment in Russia, and yet she studied to be a nurse in New Zealand, while her husband, who was an engineer, refused job after job because it wasn't the pay that he was expecting for his knowledge. But she said he didn't speak very good English, whereas she came to us to improve her English. And then there was another Japanese lady who came to me, who she was a interpreter at the UN. That's where she met her English husband.
Yeah.
But he had been made redundant, and he just collapsed basically without. And so she was wanting a job quickly, and she thrived, and she ended up teaching Japanese in high school in Tony. So those are just two examples, but I worked there for over 30 years, and it was always seemed to be the woman who picked up and ran with the job opportunities, and their husbands didn't, no matter where they came from.
Yeah. I think if you want my personal opinion, I think women are, because of the pregnancy and delivering babies, I'm not very sure. Maybe we are more adapted to any new situation. Yeah.
Well, we all know that women are really good at multitasking. You'd agree with that one, Chris, wouldn't you? And Brian? Although I'm sure.
My microphone muted, sorry.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got to support it because I met a couple of Iraqi ladies on the ferry. I used to commute from Half Moon Bay into the city, and one was a civil engineer and the other one was an architect, both beneficiaries of the Saddam Hussein environment. So probably a few years younger than yourself, Nidhal, but at the same time, it's sort of supporting the flexibility of women who are educated, because it's not just the formal education, it's the domestic education that they acquire without the classroom lessons.
Sorry, say it again.
Just supporting the flexibility of women and their formal education, which is supplemented by the domestic education outside of the classroom.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't
From their mothers. Chris is saying that he learns a lot. The women learn a lot, not only at school, but in their daily life.
Right, of course. Yes, to be honest, like I think that's the situation. We adapt to lots of things. I think women, they adapt to lots of things, because the men, they used to go to war. They were during the Iraqi-Iranian war, like my husband, we have compulsory serving the army for 2 years. Every university graduate, they have to serve for 2 years. And because of the Iraqi-Iranian war started, they didn't release his, they couldn't release him and his followers from the army. So he served for 8 years in there. So women have to adapt for life, you know, they come maybe once a week or once a month, depends on their leave. And we have to adapt with you know, with less income. We have to adapt and, you know, manage our budget and all these things, manage the children and, you know, all the problems. So that's how we become more tolerant, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, it's Deb here again. In New Zealand, we have a lot of like retirement villages for our elderly and some that slip in a little bit sooner. Can you tell me, how are the older folk in Iraq provided for?
We have some elderly houses in Iraq, elderly organization to look after the elderly organization, or those who doesn't have anybody, like because of the migration wave in Iraq, people, they have, you know, like my in-laws, they told my husband and his brother and his sister to leave Iraq because they were afraid they will go to the war. So they encouraged their children to leave Iraq. So they stayed, the elderly people, they stayed in Iraq, and they encouraged their children to move for the sake of their grandchildren and their you know, their adult children.
Yes.
But we have organization to look after the elderly in there, but not as good as, not how do I say it? It depends on, with the situation, economic situation in Iraq is deteriorating and everything. They still live in that this organization, but it depends on people donations, I think, also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Charity. And how about hospitals? How about medical support and that? Hospitals free like we are here?
Yes. It is free, but because of the sanction in Iraq, and the doctors are very, very good in Iraq. In 1982, my dad has a very rare illness. It is the weakness of the muscles.
Yes.
And the hospital, the doctor who diagnosed him, because of, he got the illness because of psychological trauma he endured during Saddam Hussein time. And the hospital who treated him, it has reached to his lungs. The lungs couldn't expand, and the lungs muscle couldn't work properly. It was always what you call it in English, you know, it expand and to breathe. He couldn't. They put him on a respirator for 6 months. But in Iraq, we have foreign doctors who came from time to time to check the, to give their consultation to cases in Iraq. And when they saw my dad in the hospital, they said, "Oh, you've done your best. This is what we can do if he was overseas."
Yes. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds.
You know, when we have something in Iraq which says, if you endure hardship, people, they will strive for education and getting, you know, they have goals to reach, they have a mission to reach.
Yeah.
So I remember one of my uncle, he's a doctor. I remember my dad, he used to say, your uncle used to study during his medical years on a oil lamp, because electricity was not very good in the 50s.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you got my point?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you thrive for better life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is all.
By the way, I was not wearing hijab. Some people, they will ask me when we arrived, a doctor, I took my youngest doctor to vaccination, and the doctor asked me, Nidhal, can I ask you a question? I said, yes. She said, why most of the Iraqi ladies who come to me, they are wearing hijab and you are not wearing hijab? I told her, my devil is very strong. I told her, well, I'm not wearing hijab, neither my family. In my family, they were all without hijab. My auntie who was living with us, and my mom, she was wearing the abaya, which is the long black veil, but she took it off later, and she's wearing a scarf. I started wearing the scarf in 2015 when I went to Mecca here.
Okay.
Because I believe it's the ultimate worship to Allah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very fascinating.
But yeah, Iraq is really like, there is lots of misconception about Iraq. They think, oh, some people, I traveled in 1994 to Bulgaria, Romania, and these things when I finished high school with my dad and my family. And some people asked me, are you living in a tent? Are you living in, what do you wear? What do you, there's all sort of a question that make me surprised.
Yep.
Yeah. But in Iraq,
yeah.
it's really, there is many, what I can say, many cultures. There is Bedouins, there are Gypsies, there is Kurd people, there is Armenian, Christian, most of the Assyrians and the Kildani Christian people, they are living in Manurewa, North Shore, Papakura, Papatawi, and those are the people who their ancestors were the early, they belong to the early civilization in Iraq. And in the south of Iraq, there is the marshes. It's a beautiful life there. The people, they live in houses made of sugar cane. And they live, yes, if you just Google the marshes in south of Iraq, which Saddam Hussein, because they raised against Saddam Hussein in the 90s. Saddam Hussein, it's very big. The marshes area are very big area there. And they live on islands they make from the sugarcane stalks. And they live with their buffalo and they eat dry fish. And he dried the marshes.
Yeah.
And so the habitat came back to life after Saddam Hussein was removed through the UNESCO, a program through the UNESCO. But of course, it's not like if I watched a video of a tourist going to the marshes just 2-3 weeks ago. Not all the people, they live there. They came back there because most of them, they are refugees. Some of them even, they came here.
Hang on, I've got two here, hang on. No, the other one isn't. The other one isn't.
So, sorry?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Oh. Fascinating, Nidhal. Really fascinating to hear. Yeah, I'm sure there's so much that you haven't shared.
Can I ask one more question? Sorry.
Yes, go for it. No, I was going to say, go for it.
Nidhal, could you tell us please about your family, your brothers and sisters?
Yeah. Oh, I was the first one to leave Iraq.
Yes.
And then my brother left to Dubai. He passed away in February this year. His family is living in Dubai.
Yeah.
My other sister moved to Jordan, and from Jordan she applied to Canada. She's living between Canada and Jordan, and like she gone the holiday and the summer holiday to Jordan, and go back to Canada when the school or the university start. Another one is living in America with my mom, and another one is living. One of my sisters, she left Iraq long time ago. She's living in America too.
Wow. So the whole family's left.
Yeah, and my husband, brother, his family encouraged him to leave Iraq in 1982. He left to Germany. He is married to a German girl.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law left with her husband and family, left to America. She's living in LA with her, with my mother-in-law.
Wow, everyone's split everywhere, aren't they?
Oh, they are scattered. Iraqi, they are scattered everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny how, like for me personally, I have New Zealand passport, a New Zealand citizenship. My sister has American citizenship. Another one has Canadian citizenship. It's funny.
Wow. Have they come to visit? Have your family come to visit you here?
Yes, my mom and one of my sisters. Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. What about you? Have you gone to see them or have you stayed put?
Yes. And before I start my study, my mom, she wasn't well. So I went to Jordan to see her, and they all came. We met. Yeah.
How lovely. That's fabulous.
But I haven't been to Iraq.
And do you keep in contact with the family on Zoom or Skype?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yes, yes, of course. Yes, yes.
Okay, that's wonderful.
So a question here, who chose New Zealand?
Oh, me and my husband. We decided to choose in New Zealand because to apply as a refugee to Sweden and Denmark, the language, we heard it was very difficult to learn, and we are exposed to English language. Like all the movies in Iraq, they are in English or American, but with Arabic translation. Our resource books are in English, so we are exposed to the English language. So we have a background in English, you know? So we decide to apply to New Zealand, me and my husband.
Did you know much about it before you decided and chose New Zealand?
Yes, some people, they have studied here in the 80s.
Ah, okay.
Yes, yes, they are vets. They studied here, they are working here. And some people, they migrated earlier in 1994. So they will send like a letter explaining the lifestyle, the prices, and they will send a calendar with all the beautiful scenery. Yeah.
We all know those calendars, yes.
Yes. With the 70 million sheep.
Yes, and we all, some of us wear grass skirts as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hilarious. Lovely.
Yeah. No more questions. So I share with you a quick recipe.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
I'll write this down and I'll make sure everyone gets it. But yeah, do tell us.
Yes.
A quick. The Mediterranean diet, of course, we use lots of olive oil.
Yep.
And we use sumag. You know sumag?
No.
It's a wild berry.
Okay.
It's It's a wild berry. Can you see it?
Just lift it
No,
up a
no,
bit.
higher,
Lift it
please.
higher.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah. And now it is available in the supermarket. Mrs. Rogers.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Can you see it?
Just
Yes. I know the brand.
This is coriander. Mrs. Rogers.
Yeah.
oh,
Yes, we've seen that brand in the supermarkets. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I think it's a $3 and something or $2 something. So this is a bit sour, you know, it's berries like boysenberries, you know, it's a bit sour. So in
Yep.
Iraq, what they do, they take the seed and they soak it in water, and they use the water in salads and cooking in tabbouleh and to give it a bit of a flavor. Or they dry the seeds and they grind it, and we use it in different recipes.
Okay.
So what in the morning, what I do sometimes, I got the recipe recently from Instagram, one of the Palestinian cook. You boil the egg. Can you see it?
Yep.
yes.
You boil the egg, you mash it, and then you add a bit of sumac and a bit of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, lots. And you mash it together.
Yes.
Yes.
And then you eat it with your bread or crackers or whatever in the morning.
And have you ground the sumac, or is
It is grounded. It is, you buy it grounded.
okay?
Where do you buy that?
It's from the supermarket or the Arabic shops.
Okay.
I think I've seen it in Pack and Save has
Yes,
got
yes.
Mrs. Rogers.
Yes.
So you're looking
this-
for Mrs. Rogers brand.
Yeah, this is it's only available in Mrs. Rogers brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Greeks
look
have
at the
caught up.
packet. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you. That's lovely.
Yeah.
So we'll all be squashing that on our crackers for lunch then, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Nidhal, tell me, what's you've been here a long time. You are Kiwi.
Yeah.
Okay. You're our Kiwi girl. The meals in the house, how much of the traditional food are you doing now?
Oh.
And how much Kiwi?
Tell you what, because my husband is very traditional.
Okay.
So we eat rice and casseroles
Yes.
in Iraq
Okay.
mostly. So, but our diet, of course, has changed. We are adapted to. We have introduced a bit of Chinese, a bit of Thai, a bit of Kiwi. So if we didn't cook rice in 2 days, my daughter will say, "Mom, we have to cook tomorrow." It has to be rice and casserole for my dad.
And what about spicy? Spicy food, i.e. chilies, this sort of thing, or not?
In Iraq, in Basra, in the south of Iraq, because it's a port, they used to do lots of trade with India. That's how the spices enter Iraq.
Okay.
And in Basra, people, they eat a bit of spicy food, and not only in Basra, but mainly in there, because the trade started in there. But some people, they like spices. They add chili and everything. I start using chili in my food, but my husband, he's a bit sensitive to chili.
Yeah, some are.
Yeah. His colon is not very
It plays up.
it's
Yeah.
sensitive to chili, to be honest.
Good way of putting it. So in our area then, you know, the Harak eastern area, are there any Iraqi restaurants?
I think there is one. I'm not very sure if it is still there or not. It is not it is not a restaurant. You know, opposite to the shops, opposite to Hawk Intermediate,
Oh, yes.
there is a doner kebab takeaway.
Okay.
There are some Mediterranean inspired restaurant in the cities.
Okay. And then, okay, well, as far as diet is concerned, how big are vegetables in the diet?
We use it's all vegetable, to be honest, but we have to add a piece of meat or chicken. We do, but we eat it with rice. The casserole has to be with rice.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yes.
therefore the casserole is more in a gravy rather than dry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. We use also because of the weather in Iraq, and you know, it's cold in winter. It's very cold in winter, and the winter is very short in Baghdad. In the north of Iraq, winter is very long. It is snowy. It is mountain. As you come a bit south in Baghdad, it's I think somebody told me it's like a Christchurch weather in Baghdad. And some
Okay.
days in Baghdad we have -2 in winter.
Cool.
But not like maybe 3-4 days, but the temperature is between 8, 11, 12, 13 degrees centigrade.
Yeah.
But the winter is very short in Iraq.
So what happens in summertime then with temperatures?
In summer, don't tell me. In summer it's very hot, very long, very hot. Temperature can reach nowadays with the global warming, it can reach in the sun, it might has reached 60 degrees centigrade.
Oh, that's
Yes.
disgusting. So would heat pumps be in all homes or not?
Yes. Yes. But with the electricity is not very good. They are struggling, to be honest.
Yeah.
Some places they have generators.
Yeah, because also some of the heat pumps can't stand
Can't
that
cope.
heat.
No,
Yeah.
can't cope with the load.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, Dr. Google, Dr. Google will give you all the answers as to Baghdad, summer, winter, temperatures, etc.
Yeah.
And I think, personally, I think you've actually gone a little bit over time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mr. Google can give you everything now, to be honest.
Yes, Ayser?
Nidhal introduced to the sumag. We use sumag always with the mincemeat kebab.
Ah.
With the shish kebab. Yeah.
Fish kebab.
Yeah.
I cannot eat kebab without the sumag, and sumag is always on my table.
Yeah.
Ah, so you use it a lot.
Salt and pepper and sumag.
Ah.
Yeah.
I love the taste of it.
Yeah. And you know, there is a Syrian shop in Cortina Place. There are 2 Arabic shops in Cortina Place, Pakuranga.
Yes.
Yeah.
One is from Syria, and he do kebab, chicken tikka, lamb tikka, pastry, Syrian pastries. He has a falafel. He has the best falafel. And yeah, lots of things. He sells lots of things. And the other one is Iraqi, Ebella food. As you go into Cortina Place toward the medical center, it's on the left.
Okay.
They have also Iraqi food, frozen Iraqi food. You can heat and eat, and some of them you only boil it and eat it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe one day we can do, you can come to my house and we do, everybody will bring a small plate just to help, and we can have more conversation I can show you more things. I couldn't show you photos because of the ethics and involved in because it's the video is recorded and other people can see it. But if I see you personally, maybe I show you photos just to show you the life there in Iraq.
you.
Oh,
It
thank you,
sounds-
Nidhal.
It's a
Yeah.
lovely offer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that invite.
Finished with the corona.
Yes. Yes. Hopefully it will be over soon. The lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ayser, it's lovely to hear you joining in the conversation today.
Thank you. There
yes.
is
I'm
lots
very
of
sorry. Yesterday, I woke up very sleepy. I was hardly opening my eyes to watch it.
yeah. There is lots of things to cover in this short time, but if you have particular thing to talk about or to know, you can let me know and I will prepare another meeting to talk about.
Thanks, Nidhal. And I think, yeah, if anybody would also could email me and ask any questions, I could pass it on to you.
Yeah, you are welcome.
Sure. I'm aware of the time. So if there's no other questions, if we could we, is there any other questions before I kick everybody off?
Plug.
Oh, well, Nidhal, thank you so much for your time. Very
You are welcome.
inspiring.
Thank you. Brilliant.
You are welcome.
We learned a lot.
Yeah. we all learn from each other, to be honest.
Yes.
Absolutely. All the best, everybody, and have a lovely week.
Thank
All
you,
the
Lee.
best. All the best, everyone.
Bye.
Yes.
Be safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.